Hi, good morning, everyone. Welcome to Fierce Friday. Today is August 12th, and I'm so excited. Excuse me. It's the 19th, August 19th. I'm a whole week behind. You can see how much this has overwhelmed me, the back to school thing. And I'm so excited to be here with you all today. We're going to be talking about back to school nutrition and some of the things that we're incorporating into our daily practice with our kids and our families. As we get back into the school routine. And nutrition is so important for ourselves and our children. So we just want to welcome you to this Fierce Friday. And the Million Mom movement really started because moms are the ones that have the buying power. We're the ones buying the food for the cabinets to feed to our families. So it really is up to us to know how to read labels, how to choose the right options for our family. And so the Million Mom movement developed, and I have Taz and Carmela here with me today as part of the council. And we're just all passionate moms about feeding our family the healthiest options out there, as many of you are too. So if you're here today, thank you for being here. Thank you for being a part of our mission and a part of the Million Mom movement. And I want to go ahead and share something that we're really passionate about, which is a pledge that we wrote out a few years back. So I'm going to show you where to find it here on our Million Mom movement. When you first come here, this pops up. If you'd like to join the movement, we don't send you any emails or anything like that. You're just becoming a part of the movement. So if you want to sign up, you can do that. That's a pop-up when you come to this page, millionmommovement.info, and you can go right here to movement and to join. Many people ask me, where do I find the pledge? This is where you'll find the pledge. Again, we have that sign up sheet right here. If you'd like to sign up, you can. And right here, we have the pledge. So I'd like to invite you to read the pledge with me, because the power is behind using our voice. And when we say it, we set intentions with it, and we really lock arms with this mission. So I pledge to defend the health of myself and my family. I pledge to choose organic foods that are minimally processed and free from man-made ingredients. I pledge to read labels and educate myself on all aspects of clean living. I understand that my actions today will positively impact the health and environment of future generations. I am committed to sharing this movement of many. I am the Million Mom movement. And together, we are the Million Mom movement. So thank you so much for joining us here today. I'm going to go ahead and pass it over to my council member, Taz Ferreira, and she's going to share with us our In the News piece this morning.
Thank you so much, Naeva. Well, you know what? Actually, Carmela is going to be sharing that, and then I will be opening up. Don't worry. Okay, pass on to you, Carm.
All right, I take the baton. We're a team. So yes, so in the news, we love this segment because there's so many things that we want our community to understand that's happening current day. And honestly, I don't know very many communities that really point you to this type of information. So many of you have heard us refer to Momavation because they have really wonderful topics that they create with lists for kind of investigative journalism with food and important things for mamas to know. So they had best plant-based beverages, best collagen without heavy metals. These are just some of the topics that they had. But actually on the 16th, which is just this week, there were millions of organic and conventional nutritional beverages that were recalled. Millions. And why? Okay, so why is this happening? Well, millions of organic and conventional nutritional protein and tube feeding beverages were recalled by this packaging food service giant named Lion Magnus. And many of the popular brands that may be organic might be on here that you might be consuming. So let's take a look. So what's happening? There is a contamination, a microbial contamination from the organisms Chronobacter sakazaki, which is what was in the recent baby formula recall that many of you may have heard. So consumers have been warned to not consume any of these recall products because they don't actually even look like they look spoiled or smell spoiled. And there are other infections related to this that are rare, but they include the symptoms of fever, vomiting, urinary tract infection, and Clostridium botulinum may cause severe food poisoning, including symptoms of blurred vision, drooping eyelids, double vision, slurred speech, difficulty swallowing, and muscle weakness. So this is especially problematic to people who are immunocompromised. So if they are using these products, you might really need to take a look at this list, right? And top of the list are organic nutritional beverage products. So definitely, if you consume any one of these things, at the bottom, there is an indication of what we should do. There's actually a recall, product recall. Organic Valley, if you actually do drink cow milk, this is the one organic brand that's really popular that's on there. Another one that I personally had used, but I realized it also had canola oil in it, was Oatly. It's in here. Organic oat milk, organic oats, pea milk chocolate. These are some of the non-organic. So the list is very long, and this is that Oatly brand. And a lot of these plant-based proteins, see here as well. So as we scroll down, what do we do if you've been consuming them, right? What happens if you had been? They say to cease immediately and make sure to call a doctor if you have any of these symptoms, because they can test it, and you can bring this article and just show this is the microbial bacteria that has been shown to have these symptoms. So I just want to make sure. And you could take your products back to the store. You'll get a full refund. They're also asking you to call the Lions Recall Support Center 24/7, or visit this website if you have any questions. So there are other recommendations that Momivation has that you can purchase that are not on this list. And so, yes, this is quite alarming, and we want to pass it to the community to be aware of. All right, let's pass it to Taz to intro our wonderful segment for the day, which is MMM goes back to school. And hello to you over there, Kiara.
Hi, everyone. How are you? So as you guys know, so I'm Taz Ferreira. I'm from Montreal, Quebec, Canada, and this business and this opportunity has brought us to Miami, Florida. So we are going to start talking about back to school hacks, right? And we have so many. And since my daughter's home with me, I'm like, you have to be part of these calls, right? This is what we're all about with this community. And it's so funny, Carm, while you were reading that article, my daughter was asking me, she's like, so what does recall mean? Is this a good thing? Is this a bad thing? What does it actually mean? So is it good companies being recalled? And I'm like, no, this is all bad. And she was alarmed. She's like, what? All of those companies? This is another level of awareness. You know, the more we teach our children to learn of what we're consuming and be up to date every day and how it's changing, because that's what happens, right? Another company buys it out. It changes, the formula changes, it gets contaminated, because our kids can demonstrate a lot of those symptoms and we don't even know where it came from, right? Okay, so let's get into it. Need to help me out? Okay, so back to school hacks. So I'm going to show you a little bit about, you know, what you need in the mornings and keeping this super simple, because as mommies, back to school is a stressful time. You actually feel like, you know, you're a chicken running without a head. So I'm trying to, well, yes, it happens. So I'm trying to show you easy ways to get nutrition into your kid's life to make it simple for the entire family. Because what starts happening during back to school is that kids are waking up late. You have to wake up super early. You have to prep. You feel pressure. You're going through so many things. And I know kids are going through a lot of things as well, right? So let's try to find simple ways that they can go to school feeling nourished, feeling healthy. And the first part of this is brain health. I'm going to be focusing a lot on brain health right now, because what happens is that school starts really early in the morning, right? And when you leave in the morning from your house and you get to school, if you don't eat an adequate meal, breakfast, you get to school feeling exhausted. The teacher starts with their material, and what happens? You don't retain it. You forget everything they say. I mean, how many of us moms pick up our kids from school and we go, so how was your day? How was school? And then they say, well, I don't remember. Well, we're going to be discussing that, how we can help our kids' memory function, retention, and their overall brain health. And I'll also show you hacks and ways and foods that we use. Okay, so nutrition for brain growth. So brain function and better mood starts where?
The gut.
It starts in the gut. Okay, so I want to talk about how the brain is 60% fat, which means you need to introduce a lot of fat. And one of my favorite fats comes in the form of hemp seeds. So I'll get into that because you have all of your omega-3s and 6s in there. Okay, so nutrition aids brain growth. Okay, so my top foods for kids for breakfast, okay? Proteins, omegas, greens, probiotics, don't forget your prebiotics, the zinc, magnesium, folate, vitamin D, E, and of course, beta glucan. Okay, I'm going to explain where we find these things, so don't worry, guys. So you know what I love to do in the morning is, oh, before we get to that, let me talk about that. I'm gonna go back and forth, don't worry. So I've been approached a lot this week with people asking me about choline, because they all know I've been plant-based for the past 14 years. And we know that choline is a neurotransmitter that allows for peak cognitive processing, right? Which helps memory function. So a lot of people have been asking me, okay, being plant-based, where are you getting your choline? Because normally you thought it was in eggs and all of these things. Well, let me debunk all of that for you. You can find choline in broccoli, in sprouts, in kale, in soy, tofu, quinoa, all of these delicious whole food nutrition. Okay, we're back to our hemp seeds. So in the morning, what I like to do for the kids is that I reuse all of my glass containers. Okay, so this is a hack. Whenever you use yogurts or like anything that's a glass container, reuse it. And I make a hemp seed pudding. All I do is hemp seeds and I put it into a blender and I add water. That's it. Nothing else. And then I add my chia seeds. And this is how it looks. How beautiful is that? A nice, thick, delicious pudding. So the kids will have this in the morning and they can mix a little bit of the power shake inside. So the power shake, you have all of your greens, you have all your B complex, you have your protein, you have your omegas, everything's inside and complete. So my favorite two things to introduce in the mornings are the Epigeneous kids, right? Don't we love the Epigeneous kids? Epigeneous kids. So the Epigeneous kit is all of your protein, your greens, your biomedic, everything is in there. The sprouts, the beta glucan, the choline, everything is in there. But I know sometimes you're like, well, the kids don't want to drink this, right? Don't worry, I've got you. Okay, so this is what I like to do. Okay, you guys see these? You see these cookies, right? Do they remind you of Gideon's cookies? You know those cookies? Okay, I live in Florida now. So I'm all up to date on these Instagram cookies. They have these cookies online. They're from Gideon's that they're full of chocolate chips. Okay, super unhealthy. We don't eat them. We see a line for days outside their store. So we decided to recreate our own. So my kids wake up before school, they get a cookie. I mean, how delicious is that? All we do is we take the Epigeneous and the MVP family. Yes, we mix both because now they're getting the cocoa, the cacao from the Epigeneous and the protein from the MVP family. So they're getting their protein, they're getting their greens, they're getting all their nutrients. And all I do is add a little bit of applesauce. That's it. And I load it up. I load it up with chocolate chips. So they eat it. They love it. They don't even know that they're having all of this nutrition. Okay. Another thing I like to do with hemp seeds. Okay. Another one of my glass jars. So in here, I pack a lot of veggies for the kids. I make sure they have a lot of veggies for school. So I cut up some cucumbers, which I feel it's usually everyone's favorite cucumbers. And again, with the hemp seeds are versatile. You can use it in so many ways. So I prep this Sunday evening, and I keep it in the fridge, and this can last a week. And then I add whatever herbs I have. So I had Italian parsley on hand, and I added a garlic. That's it. They can just take this. I put it into these little cups. I add these little reusable cups, and off they go to school, right? Super easy. Thank you. Right. So why I love hemp seeds. So let's get to this. So hemp seeds are 30% fat, and they're a great source of protein. So they're getting all their protein, they're getting all of their omega-3s and 6. So you know your kids are going to school feeling nourished, right? And this is super important. We don't want our kids to go to school being exhausted and being tired. And in the hemp seeds, there's a vitamin E, your minerals, your magnesium, sulfur, calcium, iron. So iron is really important, right? So they have their iron and their zinc, and it's super simple. So these are meals that you can prep, right? And in the morning, you can have your kids make the Epigeneous, right? You're still chewing. Okay, I know, it's okay. So you can have your kids make the Epigeneous in the morning before going off to school. You just use a blender bottle and off they go. Okay, let's go another one. All right. Okay, so I highlighted it here. So what's in the Epigeneous that's so important? So you have all of your Ds, you have your iron, potassium. I mean, just look at this nutritional aspect. It's next level. It's so easy. You know what's something else that I like doing with that? Okay, so we love oats, okay? And specific oats, we like this company, okay? This is 1 Degree Organic Foods. And what we look for is the organic labeling, of course. And I believe there is a glyphosate-free labeling as well, which I really appreciate. So oats have a high amount of beta glucan, and beta glucan is great because it helps their brain, it helps their glucose level, right? So then they're learning better in school, they're satiated, they're not feeling that my body's missing some minerals, right? And this is a special thing that is actually great for brain health. And this is what they used to use back in like the warrior days. It is what they used to use. This is what they used to send warriors out with, to have that energy, to have that sustainable energy. And you know what? Sending our kids to school, we are preparing them for everything. So to have their brains to be the optimal functions is great for me. So do you want to tell everyone what you do with the oats?
Great. So I have my oats. Also make sure it's glyphosate free. That's also very important because oats are like very much sprayed with glyphosate, and they're very fluted with that.
Yeah.
So you can hold this.
Okay. Yes.
Okay. So I like to take my Epigeneous.
Yes.
I get some water and I like make my own milk, right? So I would add Epigeneous with some oat milk or with some almond milk. I love almond milk. And
hemp seed milk.
Or hemp seed milk. We're adding in the hemp seeds again. And just
Be creative. You don't have to do the same thing all the time.
Or you can take oat milk and have oats. You could do whatever you want.
Yeah.
And I would add the Epigeneous, which is my all-time favorite, and mix it up, and I would have it with my oats, and it adds so much more flavor because I feel like sometimes oats they're really good, but they can be a little bit flavorless sometimes.
Yeah.
So I like to add my Epigeneous, which has so much flavor, and it's chocolate, which is amazing.
I'm like magnesium.
And I'm like chocolate.
Yes.
Yeah. So I like to do that. That's another great breakfast. It's very simple. It's very quick. So I could just
You add chia seeds too?
Yes.
Okay.
Chia seeds or hemp seeds.
Or hemp seeds,
You
yeah.
got to the hemp seeds again.
Right. Protein and omegas and all that good stuff.
Great.
Right. Okay, so what else? So cereals. We gotta talk cereals, right? What is the most glyphosate full cereal?
Cheerios.
Cheerios, right? So we want no Cheerios in the house, but maybe the kids want to eat something that looks like Cheerios. So I have a great alternative. So this is a brand called Love Bird. I love them. Okay, first of all, they are aligned with us because their packaging is eco-friendly. So I always love that. And the ingredients, and they're organic, every single thing. And these are the ingredients. Super simple, right? Cassava, coconut, honey, coconut sugar, cinnamon, coconut oil, sea salt. That's it. It looks delicious. It tastes great. You can also, you can make this into bars. You can mix it with barley grass, add some chocolate. Barley grass goes with every chocolate recipe. So if you want to hide it in anything for your kids, add it there. Be careful when you go to stores and you're buying any granola bar, because usually the first or second or third ingredient is some type of sugars. And even if it's agave sugar, that's a big no-no in my house, because agave actually spikes your blood glucose level as well. So coconut sugar, coconut nectar, dates. Let's look for more these sugars, and fruit sugars, of course. Okay, so I want to show you guys. Okay, before showing you guys snacks, let's talk about MVP family. So MVP family, again, make these cookies. Just okay, and it was 350 degrees Fahrenheit, these cookies, for 11 minutes. So your kids can make this in the morning. Let them make it themselves. Give them a little bowl, give them a spoon, give them applesauce, let them play with it, get their hands dirty, and make it for themselves, right? What I've noticed is when the kids make their own food, they eat it. And, okay, bonus, guys, I don't know about you, but my kids' school was always nut-free. I had to look at everything. I'm like, does this have nuts? Does this have nuts? Because we are a plant-based household, and at home we eat tons of nuts. I was always worried. I'm like, okay, I can't bring it out to school anymore. Oh no, not that. But don't worry. Everything we're talking about today, the MVP family and the Epigeneous kids are completely nut-free. This is why I talk about hemp seeds so much, because the kids can bring hemp seeds to school. They can bring sunflower, pumpkin seeds, and these are full of vitamins and nutrition. Okay, so let's talk about these nutrition. So the pumpkin seeds and the sunflower seeds. I go to Costco and I buy them in these huge packs because I love them. And I always buy them unsweetened. Don't buy the ones that are full of sugar. Don't buy the ones that have salt. I buy these ones that are raw. And what I do is I bring it home. And if the kids want something sweet, no problem. Of course, we can do that. We use some coconut nectar. We put it in the pan and we do it ourselves. Add some cinnamon to that. Add a little bit of sea salt, Himalayan salt, whatever you like. And then they have the most delicious snack, and lay it out, right? What I've noticed is that whenever you present things nicely, they'll eat it. And these seeds, you can pack in little these jars and the kids can take it to school. No issues. Here are other things I like to do for the kids for school. I have these silicone pouches. So, we have our pouches that are like this. So now I translate it to school too. So you have these ones and it actually locks like a Ziploc, but they're silicone and they come in all different shapes and sizes, right? So this one, like a sandwich. So this is what I do for that. I pick a healthy bread, right? Right now, I think I've been using one organic, the same one for the cereal. And I mix that Epigeneous kit with coconut oil. And I add a little bit more cacao. So it becomes like a thick Nutella. And then I spread that on the bread. So the kids are having even more nutrition, right? And even if they're eating something unhealthy at school, because you can't control everything, but you just do the best you can. As mamas, you have to take the pressure off and do the best you can. Whatever decision they want to make, I actually feel better because I'm like, okay, I know they had all of their nutrition. So if they want to make, any decision wherever they are, it's okay. I don't feel bad because I'm like, I know you had your salads. I know you had your vitamins. I know you had your minerals. So when I pick them up from school, I actually see a difference. I see a difference in their energy. They're not that exhausted. They're not like starved and crave for food that normally they would be like, I'm starving. I'm like, okay, you are being nourished. Okay, so I have these crackers. Okay, LS Flats. These are an amazing seed cracker. This is pumpkin, flax, sunflower, psyllium husk, and some salt. Okay, and these are great crackers that you can send your kids to school with. Pair it with a hemp seed dip, yes, and that's it. Super simple. And I like this one as well. This one's so good. You want to talk about this?
Okay,
Show them this.
these are chocolate covered whole cacao beans. So it's cacao beans covered in chocolate again. So cacao is chocolate.
Right.
So they're adding chocolate over chocolate in different forms, right? And this is amazing. I'm pretty sure, yeah, there's no nuts in here.
No.
There's no nuts in here. Cacao is not a nut, it's a bean.
Yeah.
So you can bring it to school as a little snack, or you can just have it at home. Like I feel like if you're watching a movie, you can have this too.
But
But
back to
back to school, we are talking about back to school. We're getting a little off track right here. But yes, this is amazing. And they're also
So they have all of these things in your grocery store. You just have to look for them, right? And we love these. We love this company, the organic, the carrot sticks. They have broccoli, they have kale. You know, mix it up. Give your kids different variety of things. The more they see and they smell and they taste other flavors, the better it is. My kids love these power wraps. This is a seaweed nori thing they get to like snack on. I mean, there's so many different varieties that they can do. The goal is to expose them to it. And the younger you can do it, the better. But even if they're older, you know what? The cookies could be great. Whatever their flavor profile is, you just start to work with that. That's what I think.
right. And I also love how this uses coconut sugar.
Yeah, of course.
It's a great substitute, like you were saying, dates, coconut sugar,
Yeah.
coconut nectar. These are all great substitutes. Because sometimes you see like, oh, it's healthy. Look at the ingredients.
Yeah.
And there's like the plain white processed sugar.
Yeah, then we can't
We
have
don't
it.
like that. You have to always check the
That's it.
ingredients when you're going back to school because, like you said, it
Yeah.
affects your energy, your productivity in school.
And memory retention. So that's super important for me, memory retention, to remember. So you don't have to study so hard for a test, that you don't have to do those cramming, to do all the things that, you know, we had to go through as a child. Our kids can avoid all of that. So I wanted to bring on another one of my colleagues who's an incredible human and an incredible mama. I know she wants to talk a little bit about back to school hacks as well. So I'm going to introduce Shari Pakar.
Hi, everybody. Everybody hear me? Okay, great. Well, first, I just want to thank the panel so much for having me on. This is a call that I never miss. I make sure to never miss it. I resonate with the mission here so much, and I share it as often as I can because I just think it's incredible. So thank you guys so much for what you do. So back to school is a really big time, right? And fueling our kids is so important. I mean, I have two boys. One is 10 and the other one is 12. My oldest son has type 1 diabetes. So he's kind of helped us sort of get into a better routine, right? Because it's really important that I keep his blood glucose levels constant. And so snacks are important, but of course we want to look at the quality of those snacks, right? Not all snacks are created equal, as we're talking about today. So one of the things I think is really important is sleep. And I think we so underestimate the importance of a good night's sleep for our kids. I mean, I think we underestimate it for ourselves and we need it too back to school time, but definitely our kids do. And so the apothecary, right, is so simple. It's so delicious. It's just organic tart cherries. And I know my kids love it and it's done wonders for their sleep. And you know, there's so much that's affected by sleep, right? Their immune systems, of course, but also their mood and their anxiety. Sometimes there's a lot of anxiety with the start of a new school year, whether they're really young or even older kids, right? We all it's a stressful time. So sleep is huge to help regulate all of that. So apothecary is something that I make sure to incorporate for my kids. Speaking of anxiety, there's also the Epigeneous Kids, which Tess already spoke about, but that one too, I love because it has a serving of Biometic already in it. And so that helps with the gut. And we know that the gut is so much connected to their brains and mood. So super important. And I love all of this because my kids can do it all on their own, right? And the more we get them doing this on their own, the more excited they are about trying it, about eating it, especially if it's something new. I find that if we get them involved in the prep, then they're more likely to try it. So that's really great because all these superfoods make that so easy. What else? So for immune system support for back to school, right? Back to school, all the viruses and colds start up. It's really important to keep their alkalinity in their bodies balanced. The best way to do that is through like dark leafy greens, right? Because they're full of chlorophyll. I know it's not always easy to get our kids to eat the dark leafy greens. And so Purium's Power Shake makes that super simple because it's delicious. Again, it's something that they can prepare on their own. My kids at this point, we've been doing this for a year now. So my kids do it all on their own in the morning. We have the little blender bottle, but even before we had the blender bottle, they love to scoop out the Power Shake into their mixer cup and then just do it on their own. So the Power Shake is fantastic for alkalinity, for immune boosting, also for energy, right? This is sustainable energy we're talking about. So not only can they have a Power Shake in the morning, but they can bring it to school too, because again, there's no nuts in any of the products, right? And you can kind of pre-measure the powder, put in a little container, have their water, and they can put it together at school. I know my youngest son loves doing this at his sports activities. And he always loved, it always gets a reaction. Other kids ask what he's doing, and he loves to show off how he puts his powerful greens into his water and mixes it all on his own. So that's another thing. Aside from that, there's the immune boost and the in focus for kids, which are favorites over here for us. My younger son has a little bit of a harder time focusing for long periods of time. He just would rather be playing, right? Which I think all our kids would. And especially at the beginning of the school year, there's some resistance getting back into a routine. So I love the in focus because it really delivers like a calm focus and energize. So he's not kind of dazing off into space, and he's also not having a hard time settling, and his focus is just generally better. And again, it's just a little dropper. It's beautiful organic herbs. They can drop it under their tongue on their own, part of your morning routine when you're doing, when you're kind of doing all your prep that you need to do in the morning, you can have them do these things on their own, which is always a bonus, saves on time. And again, the more they do it, the more we get them invested in their own health, and the more they want to do these things, right? And the immune boost is the same thing. So you can give that to them as often really as you'd want. It's also great to have on hand for like the first sign of a sniffle. So anytime that would happen, I'd have them start taking it, and it's just a great way to give their immune system a little boost. The other thing I wanted to just talk about quickly is some of those little snack tips and hacks like Tass was talking about. So again, another Purium favorite in our house is the Daily Fiber Blend. My kids love the apple caramel flavor. We sprinkle it over our vegan yogurt in the morning. We also love to put on our homemade popcorn. It's so delicious. And my kids really feel like they're getting something that's like really sweet, but they're also getting amazing nutrients. They're getting a whole bunch of fiber, which is so important for my older son with his diabetes, but for both of them, I mean, fiber is super important, and we often don't get enough of it. So, and those are snacks that, you can make them at home, but they're super easy to put together and put in a lunchbox, right? And they're easy to have as a snack or along with their lunch. So, these are just some of the things that we do that we really enjoy. And as much as I like to cut up a whole bunch of fresh fruit and vegetables to have for them at the end of their school day during their homework, something they can munch on, but that I know that they're having nutrients with, these superfoods balance that out so beautifully, because we can do that as well, right? If they're looking for something extra and it's close to supper, well, I don't mind if they make themselves, a power shake, or an MVP shake, right? So again, it's just such a great go-to with an up leveling of so much nutrition.
Awesome. Okay, so Mike, thanks, Sherry. I loved your tips, and I definitely used a lot of what you shared too already, which I love, which is the in focus, the immune booster, the MVP kids family, rather, now it's called. I actually do also, the first thing in the morning, have a bento plate of supplements that I give to my children before, and the little shot glasses ready for them to get out the door. And I have a new 4th grader and a new 7th grader, and their social life has just boosted a lot. So I know that they have a lot more peer pressure, a lot of more activity around being around other families, other homes. So I really like to set the precedence at home first thing in the morning to talk about it too. So in my bento, I always will have, of course, the Biometic and the aminos, the chlorella, and the zinc aid. But then I always squirt them with the CBD first thing in the morning. So as we all know, the first thing in the morning can be kind of anxious for everybody in the home. I don't know if you as a mom, like, you need it more than maybe the kids might need it, because you're making sure everything is set up. And we need enough sleep also to mitigate this anxiety first thing in the morning. So wake up early enough so that you're able to prepare all these things. Actually, the night before, make sure the food and everything is set up. So yes, CBD really helps me with a state of focus and calm, but I also use the in focus as well. Mostly for my son than my daughter. But you'll know when to use what when, and you have this apothecary at home, and really get your kids familiarized with your own apothecary. I tell my partner, share your apothecary, with me. I want to see what you've got, what you use, because everyone has a different set of tools. I love what Taz was sharing specifically about, and Kiara, about needing healthy fats first thing in the morning and alternatives to, plant-based alternatives that are organic. What I wanted to add to this talk was that, I'm a holistic practitioner before I was a parent. And so monitoring people's physical health was a really big part of being a therapist, but I have a counseling background, but, their mental, energetic, spiritual, emotional health is also a big part of when you're having now like a middle schooler or a high schooler, and, you really want to be there present for them. And how do we do that? Well, I definitely feel like the time spent at home is the education that you're going to be taking culturally to them, and the earlier the better. So some practices that I have are so these are some of the don'ts and some of the do's, but don't restrict food. Instead, take time to educate when reading the labels, and really take time at least once a week to go shopping together. Like strategically make that a time spent together at home, and plan it in your schedule, because if they've got sports afterwards, or if they've got a lot of things going on, actually reading the labels and shopping together so that you can choose what you want together is super important. We don't want to be this dictator mom or this helicopter saying, this is what you got to do. Right? Like it's a little scary when out in the real world, and the default world, we call it in our home, is that, they're marketed all these things that we see in our community is just not okay. So you take time to read the labels once a week and go shopping. And this sets them up for controlling their own choices and habits with you. And if you're overly strict and restrictive, this can actually increase their risk of developing an eating disorder, which we really are trying to avoid. And this is their, mental, spiritual, mind, body, and soul connection. Never use food as a reward system, unless when we use the reward system, which in schools, it's a big reward system, right? They're being taught through reward systems to get to a certain place in their studies. We'll have it at home, but in a healthy way. And this might mean for you to not put it into the form of a meal out or something like this. Make it into a healthy habit activity, like I put here a bike ride together, an inline skating date, just you and them. Like, how when you take one child alone and separate, it's a date. I don't know about you guys. It's a very special moment. So make that like a reward system. And during the school year, those quiet moments with you and your child, that gives them a mental headspace of being grounded without feeling like you're grounded, right? And so we need to help support that relationship, because I know with my husband, we have one and one, a girl and a boy. So we try to swap that and really use reward systems. Like if they have an Amazon wish list, like we know exactly what they need and want and they love, so that they can start to choose what's out in the world too. And we vet it. So we disperse that as we think is reward, but never around food, because psychologically it can be also an unhealthy association. Sitting down for family dinners. I've said this a number of times in some of my tips, because my culture, it was such an incredible thing to create an etiquette and a way of talking, the art of conversation, the art of connecting with the family. And some of you might have kids who have soccer or swim team, and you are eating on the go. And that's unfortunate. Unfortunately, we hear a lot of parents having to do that. And they have to pack the snacks. They're eating in the car on the way home. And I'm like, oh, so stressful, right? But that's what we do for our kids. We take them to the swim practice if we need to. And we travel for them. Well, we need to be really prepared, and just for ourselves as parents, take care of yourself, because there's so much of that running around preparation required, and we need to be grounded in order for them to be grounded. So just remember how much it affects their emotional, mental, energetic, and spiritual state. And the practice of etiquette. I know like this isn't specific to my mom. This is just the practice for healthy families. I want all families to really truly have that connection to the self and to the family, because we are the nourishers. We're the ones helping them nourish themselves as they grow into college. I think I actually count down the years where my daughter is going to be on her own to college. And I say, I have this amount of years left with you. So this is our training ground, right? And it's precious. It's such really, really special time. And then another thing is, of course, movement as medicine, because what Sherry was talking about, how anxiety is a huge part. And I know that Nayeva has something to share about this as well, is that, you know, when kids are in sports and just in general, what if kids aren't in sports and they're just studying all day and they come home and then they want to be in front of a phone or computer? Oh my gosh, and then studying. No, we need to help them by doing. So my practice was, I always had a sport, but if you don't have a sport for your children, then after dinner walk, you know, take a little bike ride, you know, exercise at home. My team is doing a challenge, a core strength challenge, but I'm involving my entire family to do it. And now my kids are like, wow, it's kind of sore now, but I feel like my posture is better. I can breathe better. You know, this is just a general holistic approach to helping raise your children, but it's the mind body, and the body has to be always included in this process of us teaching them, you know, how to. These next few years, they're going to be going through a lot of stress. How will they balance their stress? Definitely through food. Food is a huge tool. And if you're eating all these acidic foods, your stress levels will be through the roof, because you'll be spiking and dropping, spiking and dropping. We cannot have that, because that's what happens with moody children who act out. They have anger issues. You know, I see other parents dealing with it and they're like, how are your children not all the time acting this way? I said, well, I feed them on schedule. Like, I'm pretty clear what they're eating. We sleep. This is actually like, we wind down before we sleep. Blue block glasses for me. And they have some of them. They have them by their beds if they're reading or looking at an iPad. And then definitely the wind down. We pray before, you know, we sleep, and we just make an intentional time to self-care. Because, oh, another thing is, a big part of when kids are in school, how connected are you to all the things that are going on in their life, right? Do you know what's going on in their social circles? Because that could affect everything, right? Are you connected to how they're feeling about them with their classes as well, like in their schools? Or are you just getting the grades after the quarter is done? How connected are you? So this is the time when you strategically plan when you go out to shop and eat, right? You plan dinners together, you wind down together, you intentionally make movement a practice daily. You know, first thing in the morning, you set them up for success with a barley green grass shot and some aminos and something that's healthy fats first thing in the morning. And always when they come home, have something prepared. Like, awesome moms have snacks ready, because you know they're hungry. So be prepared. Definitely have that be a priority, or the parent, the co-parent. So I'm complete, and I'd love to pass the mic over to Nayeva.
Wow, what an incredible presentation. Why don't you give our ladies some love this morning? Drop some hearts in the comment or some ones in the comment for them. And wow, thank you so much for bringing such incredible, valuable information. I loved everything that you shared and related with a lot of it. And, you know, I love that you shared, Carmela, that even our own selves, right? Getting rest for ourselves and the CBD for ourselves first thing in the morning, because we all know that the morning routine can be really stressful, especially we just are getting out of summer. Most of us probably didn't have a super strict routine during the summer of needing to get up early for activities and things like that. So it's restarting our routine again, our school routine, right? So getting back in the flow, and so much valuable information. And so what I'm going to share is that, you know, first thing in the morning, I love making my kids a shake, no matter what else that they're going to have for their breakfast. My kids are really fans of like pancakes or like eggs for breakfast. And so we rotate different things with that. but I like to mix things into the pancakes. You know, there's so many of our proteins can be mixed into, you can either just make pancakes with the protein, which my kids aren't super fond of, I'll admit that. But what we do is I'll compromise and I'll do half pancake mix and half of the MVP Sport vanilla or the MVP Sport chocolate, whichever one they prefer. And we'll just have fun with it. So, you know, you'll figure out what is best for you and your kids on the flavor profile, but incorporating the nutrition is so important, and figuring out what we have that is easy to kind of bring into your morning routine. So we live in Hawaii, and it's usually pretty warm in the morning first thing when we get up. So having a nice smoothie or a shake in the morning is super pleasant. So no matter what they have for breakfast, I always make them either a fruit smoothie, and I will add some healthy proteins to it. So often I'll do the vanilla sport protein in that one. I can add like cocoa hydrate into there, aloe digest, lots of the flavor profiles and health benefits of other superfoods that we have. So those all go really well in a smoothie for like a morning drink before school. And if they have extra, sometimes I'll put it into a little hydro flask for them to take with them, and they'll have it as a snack at school that they can have a little bit later on with some ice cubes so it stays cold. And they can either, you know, have it at recess or their snack time at school. So that's a really great way to just help supplement them through the day with something cool, refreshing, and nutritious. My older son is in sports. He's in high school football this year. And he is all about the protein shakes. He loves the coffee shop proteins that we came out with. But he also likes, you know, all of the protein shakes, I must say. So his favorite has been the vanilla chai love over the years, but he also enjoys the MVP protein, either vanilla or chocolate. And I'll just make that in the morning with some plant-based milk, a couple bananas, some protein, and I add everything in there for him first thing in the morning. So I add his Biomedic, I add a squirt of the aloe concentrate, I add the super xanthan in there. So I'll add all of the things that I can into there, as long as it's not gonna change the flavor. I'll add it into the shake. So I know that he's getting everything first thing in the morning, because you know what? As soon as he gets out of school, he has 2 to 3 hours of football practice. And I think they have a half an hour between the time school ends and the time he starts practice. So he often doesn't, you know, he goes to school, he eats his lunch, then after school's over, he's straight to practice. He doesn't get home till like 6:30, which is dinner time. So I don't see him from the time he leaves in the morning until 6 o'clock at night. He's gone the whole day. So I want to make sure first thing in the morning, I'm packing him with all the nutrition that I can, all the pre-workout or like, you know, support that I can for his body, because I know he's going to be working really hard throughout the day. And then again, when he comes home, like Carmela said, I really do try to have food ready for him, because when he comes home, he's hungry. He's really hungry. Like he'll even call me and be like, Mom, did you make dinner yet? Like on my way to pick him up, because he's like already like, I haven't eaten something nutritious in a while. So if I don't have dinner ready right away, then I'll make him another protein shake. And that really does help hold him over. Like if I have to make dinner after I return from picking him up, then I'll make him another shake or a smoothie. And that really helps to just hold him over until he can get something. So he takes, you know, what Myron takes is he loves the Can't Beat This for, you know, I often will send it to him in a container, and he'll add it to his water prior to his football practice as like a refreshment. Because like I said, he has a half-hour break. So he can get ice water at school, refill his flask, and do that. And sometimes I'll mix the Can't Beat This with cocoa hydrate, which he really loves the flavor of that. And so that is really great, because it's hydrating, it's helping their blood circulation, it's helping give him the healthy energy, and it's just overall really good for him. The other thing I try to send him with is some aminos. Again, he can take it in a small container with him, and he can take it after school before sports. And that's really helpful for his muscles and just his body having some protein right before he's going to go, you know, spend a lot of energy. It's just really helpful for him, because he usually brings a school lunch, but even that, he's a very big boy, and even that doesn't really hold him over from lunch until dinner. Like he is really hungry at the end of the day. So having these supplements with him that he can have right after school and before sports is really helpful to hold him over and hold him through the day and really support his body through, you know, the vigorous training that he's doing. And so We really love all the, we love also the MVP family, the kids chocolate or the MVP family chocolate because of the chocolate profile. It's so yummy. Most of the kids really enjoy that. Something else that we love to make is popsicles, because right after school, again, the kids need some snacks. You're making dinner, you don't have anything, let them have a healthy popsicle. Yeah, it's a mom win for you. They've done their homework. They get a popsicle as a treat, but really they're getting a ton of nutrition, and you can rest assured that, they're still going to eat their dinner. And so I like to make good compromises like that, where it's a treat, but it's also a mom win. So those are some of the things that I wanted to share today. And I just want to leave a few minutes. If anybody has some questions that you'd like to ask our council, then we can take a few questions, and then we will do our call to action and let you know what our presentation is next week. So go ahead and raise your hand and we'll let you ask your questions. Council, was there anything else that you'd like to add? Taz or Kamala?
So freezing the bananas, that always helps. Do we have any questions or anything? So I'll just like, Naiva, if someone has a question, let me know. So freezing the bananas are always great. You can just take that, add that to your smoothie in the morning. I think mixing it up and having different textures, different flavor profiles always helps, because what I've noticed is that kids get bored of the same thing all the time, right? And I hear it from so many parents. Well, how much can they drink? Well, we need to drink. We need hydration. They need to drink water. They need it, right? But a lot of times the hesitation comes from the parents, right? The parents are more susceptible to, well, I don't know if my kids are going to have this. But if the kids are involved in making the food, now they're going to eat it more, right? Is there anything you would like to add?
Well, it is very important that we make our own food. I just made lunch for the whole family. I'm eating it. It's almost done. I love making my own food. And like I said before, with Hemp, there's just so many different recipes you can make with so many of the Purium products. And like you said, like barley grass, you can put in chocolate.
And you know what happens when you do this and when they're eating like this at school, that already is influencing all their peers. So their friends are seeing what they're eating. Like her friends will see her, the way she's eating. They're like, well, you have clear skin like that and you're eating like that. Okay, I need some of that too. How do I get that? Okay, put our parents in touch because I need that as well, right? So this is another way that we can influence the whole family through our kids. Our kids go to school and influence their friends.
Yeah, my daughter also has been baking for all of us and slowly making meals. But like she made those banana fritters with the daily fiber and the coconut flour, and she air fried them. And then she made this can't beat this meringue. And these are things you could pack. Those two things you can pack in. And she tried to get the right consistency of the meringue to get it so that it's not too, it is a little crunchy, but it's not too gooey. But then the taste of the beets, oh my God, it's amazing. It's like melt in your mouth kind of things. And it has that egg white. I mean, you may not, you're vegan, so there might be other options, but we do consume eggs. But to get them involved and then to have them share it with their friends, to say, I made this, that's huge, right? And now her friends want to come to our home and bake. And you know how I feel if you've been listening to us long enough. I want everybody in my house more than I want my kids in theirs. So, because you know what happens when they go to theirs. I swear, it's like a staple. Oh, I'm going to go hang out and sleep over. We got to get candy. What? That is just not acceptable. So this is why I know exactly what's going to happen. I know what's the modus operandi of kids these days. And it's just, let's change the paradigm and change the dynamic.
Love that. Beautiful.
Can I add how to do a vegan meringue quickly? So all our vegans out there, they're like, well, we only eat eggs. Okay, so aquafaba. So that is what the water that chickpeas are in. So when you soak the chickpeas, that is the most amazing magical thing. Okay, so whip that up. You add a little bit of coconut sugar, and then you add your almond meal. Like this is the best. Like you can make the macarons. You can make all of these things with that recipe. Okay, back to you, Naiva.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So what an incredible presentation. Thank you all so much for joining us for our million. Oh, look, we actually, Camille, I'm gonna go ahead and unmute you. I just saw that we do have a question, so I'm gonna unmute you now.
Hi, you guys are speaking my language today. Thank you for this call. It's so cool. I had two questions. So we've been trying to just get the organic cereals and be really careful with those, but I'm noticing that they all have cane sugar. What do you guys think about organic cane sugar? To me, it's kind of like, oh, this is white sugar in disguise. So I'd love to hear your feedback on that. And then Taz, do you have a recipe for ice cream sandwiches? My little boy keeps asking me for ice cream sandwiches, like the black and white ones. You know what I'm talking about? So those are my questions.
Absolutely, we do. I mean, of course. Okay, so for the cereals, okay, so my family, we do not have cane sugar, okay, because it spikes. And once you open this box of cravings, it's too difficult to close it, right? So we always use anything that's mineral rich, maple syrup, coconut sugar, dates, anything, right? So this is what we look for. So the cereals I showed you, those have coconut sugars. So it is available, just look for them, right? And try to opt out for cane sugar, even if it says it's organic. I mean, I don't, same thing with agave, right? They say agave, organic. No, it's okay. You know, there's better choices out there. We have it, so let's just make the better choices. So for the ice cream sandwiches, okay, super easy. So Simple Mills actually came up with an Oreo that is cashew butter inside. Okay, so I just want to let you guys know this. I bought it. Kids don't love it. It's too sweet for them, but I mean, it's good to know that it's out there. It's a healthier version. So you can always use this. You can separate it like an Oreo, and then you can take the bananas that you would freeze and blend it up and then make it into a sandwich and then put it in the freezer. There you go. You have your cookies, your ice cream sandwiches. Or you can make, I have a simple sugar cookie that you can make with almond flour and maple syrup. That's it. 2 ingredients, almond flour, maple syrup. You make a sugar cookie, you lay it out, and then you can use that and use a cookie cutter and then put the same banana ice cream. You can add a little bit of vanilla to the banana ice cream. You can, if you want to make it even more super full, you can add one of the Love Meal or any of our superfood powders into that. And then it's going to be full of nutrient density. And then you just pack that and there you go. You have another sandwich. I mean, there's so many things.
Definitely
Okay.
try to stay away from the cane sugar. It's in all the recipes that are supposed to be healthy products. Like Taz's swaps are exactly it. The dates, the maple syrup, even some raw honey if need be. Sometimes you just don't even need it at all. Like, especially if you have like Epigeneous in there, MVP Kids, like you don't need any sweetener at all. The superfoods itself are sweet, so try to add the superfoods.
Awesome. Amazing suggestions. Thank you so much, ladies. Amazing question, Camille. Thank you so much. So I'm going to share my screen a couple of times here. First, I just want to show you all what we've been talking about for the past hour, as this is amazing family nutrition pack that our dear friend Jody Parker helped to formulate. And so I love this pack. A lot of the products that we talked about are in this pack. So if you're new here to Fierce Friday and you're interested in getting these superfoods for your family, please reach back out to the person that invited you here and they can help you get a discount on whatever superfoods are best for your family. But a lot of the things we talked about were in this pack today. And we also have we have the MVP family, which is amazing chocolate protein for the whole family, but we also have our Epigeneous Kids, which is incredible because it has a lot of things in one. So that's what we were talking a lot about today, but I want to take you to our call to action. So this is the article that we've been reading from for the past few months since we had Henry Rollins on as one of our guest speakers. It's The Poison in Our Daily Bread: Glyphosate Contamination Widespread in Our Essential Foods. So this is an incredible article. You can just look it up. And at the bottom of this article, there's a link that will bring you to this report. And this report shows you many of the foods that have high levels of glyphosate in them. So these numbers here are parts per billion of glyphosate within the ingredients in these foods. And today we're actually going to be looking at the 100% whole wheat bread from Sara Lee. So this is generally sold at Target and other big stores. And so the call to action is to go to Instagram. Sara Lee has an Instagram page here, and it's Sara Lee Desserts. So if you want to right now, go ahead and get on your phone, go to Instagram, go to Sara Lee Desserts. And really the call to action is to just let them know that we are aware they have glyphosate in the wheat and the oats and the things that they're using in their bread. It's in the wheat because it's in their whole wheat bread. And so I didn't actually get to scroll to see if there's some breads in here, but you can just comment on any of their posts and just say, hey, I just found out that there's high levels of glyphosate in your whole wheat bread. And I'm really curious what it is that you're doing about it. If you guys plan on phasing this out, it's really a friendly activism conversation. So just ask them what they're doing about it. And to take that a step further, as I've seen some of you taking screenshots of the reply when you send these messages, and they send you a reply and they're like, we're phasing it out, or we didn't even know, or whatever they reply. Take a screenshot and share that in your stories. Tag them and tag the Million Mom Movement so that we can continue to spread this message. So with that, I'm just going to take us over to the Million Mom Movement Instagram page. If you aren't following us here yet, please do go follow us here. I'd love to highlight you. And most recently, I've been realizing that we're having so much fun with Reels that I'm not finding a lot of still posts that I can repost. So my call to action for all you amazing moms out there and entrepreneurs that are on this mission with us is to create posts about nutrition, your kids having better nutrition, back to school nutrition, and your lifestyle, working from home, all the things that pertain to this movement. And when you post them, please hashtag Million Mom Movement or tag Million Mom Movement so that I can find you and I can repost you. So that's all I have for today for the call to action, but we do want to let you know next week we're going to have an incredible presentation. As most of you know, Stephanie Dawn, it's going to be her last weekend as part of our council. And so she and Carmela Velarde are going to be having our radical business coaching next weekend on August 26th. So please mark your calendars, invite your team members, invite your business prospects to come learn about how we do radical business coaching here at the Million Mom Movement. And this will be an event not to be missed. So please join us next week. And thank you so much for joining us today.